Okay, so in terms of hydration, I try and drink 7 to 8 litres of water a day. Well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of drinking water, unlike, you know, a lot of people sort of find a water really refreshing. I can't stand drinking it on its own, so I generally have squash, just like a sugar-free one. So I mean, for me, it's like I'm more likely to drink it if it tastes good. And I think that's the same with food and everything. You know, if something tastes good, you're more likely to do it. So that's something that I do. In terms of hydration, I think it's massively important for your body to keep you fresh, healthy, young, everything else. I think it's definitely something that people neglect. So on top of that 7 to 8 litres of squash water that I drink per day, I'm also having a couple of protein shakes that are made with water. Then on top of that, before training, I'm having an electrolyte drink. Again, that's probably around about half a litre again. And then during training, I use a BCAA with beta-alanine, citrulline, malate, and some carbs in. Some fast-acting carbs. I drink that during training. So I find, for me, the electrolytes are important. Obviously, over the years I've suffered with cramps quite a lot, so it's really important for me to stay on top of the electrolyte issue. I even go as far sometimes as taking a sodium tablet or a magnesium tablet each day, if I'm really starting to suffer with cramps at the time, if I'm training hard. So yeah, that's something on top of the water intake you need to take into consideration, is making sure your salts are up to the level that they should be. I recently just had my blood work done, and I've been supplementing magnesium and sodium in my diet to try and stop the cramp issues, and actually came back in a healthy level, which in the past it's always been slightly too low. So hopefully that's going to remedy my cramp issues. I think things like, getting your blood work done can tell you a lot, and I think obviously hydration, drinking plenty of water, is very important. But on top of that, getting the nutrients that your body needs from the hydration side of things, the electrolytes into your body, that's crucial too. And I think, we've always been led to believe that putting salt on your food's bad for you. It's like, you can't have too much salt, it's really bad for you, it gives you high blood pressure. It's actually proven now that it doesn't really have that much of an effect, nowhere near as much as people think it does. And if you're training very hard and cramping is an issue, make sure you're salting your food enough. And another thing to look at is getting some electrolytes. So whether that be from a supplement company where you get some electrolytes. The one I've got's actually got coconut water in it as well, which is good for rehydration. But with you can just go to a local pharmacy and buy some rehydration treatment. It's cheap as chips. That's something that you need to stay on top of as well with your hydration. I mean, it's good to, keep a track of stuff. Look at how much water you're drinking per day, and always assess how you felt each day. So you can always go back with regards to training, diet, everything. If you diary everything, even your water intake, something that you'd think is as simple as that, you might have felt really good on a certain day, and you can go back and look at what you did on that day. Oh, I drank 10 litres of water that day, and I felt better than that day where I drank 5. So you know that the 10 is going to be more the figure you're going to be looking at. I mean, a lot of it's going to be, each individual person's always going to be different. So for me, I've found that sort of 7 to 8 litres is about right. It's sort of a sweet spot. But I think with regards to, your own body, you've got to try and sort of somehow keep a tab on when you feel at your best. So even your hydration, you should factor into when you're diarying stuff. And you can see, right, I felt really good that day. That's what I did that day. I should try and replicate that then the following day. And experiment with different things. Like I said, I use the electrolytes before training, and the salt tablets and the magnesium tablets. I've had my blood work done to check that, see where my electrolyte levels are in my body. And with the supplementation, I've got myself in a position where I should be in terms of all my minerals are where they should be. But on top of that, I also know that I need to have the electrolyte drink before training to stop me cramping. I need to drink 7 to 8 litres of water a day. And on top of that, have the BCAA, citrulline and beta-alanine drink during training. In terms of post-training, I tend to get a shake with some carbs in almost immediately. I also use an overtraining solution, which is got colostrum and a few other things in it, that's added to my shake just to really help improve recovery from training sessions. And then obviously throughout the rest of the night, I'd continue to drink my water or my squash. I think another thing that sort of people need to factor in if you're having pre-workouts and things like that, and like a lot of caffeinated drinks, you perhaps need to look at having slightly more water than you normally would, because although you see that as a drink, I mean, I'm quite partial to a caffeinated drink myself. So if you look at that and take that into consideration, they actually will dehydrate you slightly. So factor that in. If you're drinking a lot of caffeinated drinks, add a little bit extra water in just to even the balance back out. And yeah, I mean, so that's basically what I do for a daily period. A normal day, it's 7 to 8 litres of water a day, electrolyte drink before training, during training a BCAA intra-workout drink with carbs and beta-alanine and citrulline in, and a couple of protein shakes throughout the day as well. And that's pretty much where I'm at. So all in all, I'm probably consuming around about 10 litres of water per day. That's including the water that's in my shakes and my intra-workouts and things like that. If you want me to go in a bit more detail, or any questions specifically about what I've just talked about, feel free to give us a shout and get in contact, and I'll get back to you.